Howdy crew, got another shopping haul for the welding rig. Went down to MPB again and bought a bunch of stuff. I'll be going through all this in more detail once I offload it from the truck. But just gonna get things onto the dolly here, and then I'll break down what all this is very shortly. There'll also be some unboxing videos for some of this. I'm not going to have it all in one video, just going to have it in multiple videos. That way, if some of y'all are more interested in an unboxing of one thing rather than another, along with its review, then it will be broken down as such, and then y'all won't have to navigate a much longer video. Open up this Black Stallion box. Here we go. Got a bunch of stuff. And I'll just carry that one by hand, as well as this one. All right, let's go break all this down. Ready to do the breakdown for the shop haul. It's gonna be kind of fast because the table's already hot and I don't want rubber stuff sitting on here. I know it's gonna be hot in the rig, but I try and mitigate any damage to anything as I can. If something can be minimalized, I'll do that. So just gonna be setting stuff up here, going over it, and then putting it all away so it just doesn't sit out in the sun and rot, because that is a big thing. Specifically with the first item, oxy-fuel hoses. So this one should be the 3/8 size. It is, and T grade, or grade T, however you want to put it. So I do have this one, and this one should be the 50-foot. Yes, 50-foot length, and 1/4 inch would be just fine. So there's gonna be a little bit of line loss extra on this one, but there were no 50-foots that were the 1/4, so a little bit extra line loss, but that's okay. Moving on, I'm gonna have the 100-foot grade T oxy-fuel hoses. This way, if I need to connect different things, if I need 100 feet, I have 100 feet. If I just need 50, I have 50. Yes, there's gonna be a little bit extra line loss, and I just have to adjust it in the torch, but that's fine. At least I have different lengths. I'm able to adjust it, so that is good. I'd rather not just have 100 feet lying around if I only need 50, or if I only need to use 20 feet worth, I'd rather have 30 feet lying around than 80 feet being used for no reason. And next up on the list, this is 100 feet of 2/0 cable with male-female connectors. So MPB, they have reels. I believe they come in 500 feet, and so they cut it at 100 feet and they put the male and female connectors on. So I just connect them normally when they're not being used, just so they're not flapping around, because I have seen these get damaged other than when they're not put all the way in and they start arcing. But I've seen some guys just flail these things around, they get little nicks in them, and I'd rather not do that. So that's why I just get them in there and I tighten them up, so when they're in storage, they're just nice and tight and nothing happens to the ends, because things can happen. Grime gets in to the female end, and when things get clogged in there, you get stuff in the male end, that line that separates it. I'm not sure if y'all can see that, but grime will get in there, and I don't want things arcing out when I need it in the rig when it's in use. So I have another 100 feet. One's going to be for electrode in, one's going to be for the ground in. That way, 100 feet, again, this one I didn't have hooked, so that's why zip tie. You go and hook those. So I'm really happy to have gotten these today. It's just making sure everything is in ordnance, in order. So we got the two 100 feet, again, the electro in, then the ground in, and then a 50 footer. This is going to really test the table out. Even when I was using company equipment, I always did this just to protect the equipment because I don't want anyone blaming me for something going wrong. And then another 100 feet. I'm going to start moving this out. I know it has a 350 pound spot weight, and I believe each 100 feet is about 45 pounds approximately for the 2-aught cable. I'm not sure whether that is including or excluding the connectors, but I think it's about 45 pounds ish for the 100 feet. Then obviously you cut that in half, so you have 21 and a half, 22 and a half. I think it's between 43 and 45 pounds, then 22 and a half, 21 and a half pounds for the 50 footers. And so you do have to account for that in your rig if you have it all on one side. It does add up weight. Now, I know for a lot of trucks this isn't gonna be anything weight-wise, but if you put everything on one side, I have seen some guys with lopsided trucks. They don't wanna go to the street end to go get something and their whole truck starts to lean. It looks kind of goofy. But moving on, ground, and then electrode in stinger. So obviously running flux core, this wouldn't be used. This still would be. These are 1-aught, and reason being, if you're holding this up all day long and you're holding it up over your head, you'd rather have 1-aught rather than 2-aught. It may not seem like the biggest difference, but when you're doing it all day, it makes a difference. And it's just a slight amount of weight, but still it is a difference. And when you're in the last, these are both, I had them made at 10 feet each. When you're at the last 10 feet, you're not gonna be losing that much. Now, if you're running 100 feet worth of 1-aught when you should be using 2-aught, that line's gonna get hot. But using the ground, forget which one I bought, what the name was, Lenco. I think most of this is Lenco. So Lenco ground, I love the springs on these. There's some that don't have the springs and they open easier. They have the little spring in here. I don't care for those. I like the ones that have the spring on the back because it really clamps down, and I like that. It's got the little teeth on it, which is good. And of course on the stinger, 300 amp rated stinger, and it's got that nice tension in there. I love the ones with a lot of tension because I will be using this a lot. I've used some that have the light tension. Some guys, oh, it's nice and light to put in there. If you're a welder, you shouldn't be wanting something that's nice and light. You want something that grabs that rod because things happen. You want that rod in there nice and tight. At least I do. It doesn't mean everyone does, but me being me, I like that nice hard clamp on that rod. So if I have it in any direction going out, if I have it straight out, I normally, maybe me, I have it going out at the angle. I love that. It doesn't really matter what position unless I'm in a tight spot that dictates otherwise. I really enjoy having it out at an angle. I just really enjoy that. So got those. 2 more items. I have a Profax flux core gun, and I will be bringing this out in another video so that if y'all want to see just this, it'll be just in there. And it's just the inner shield. I got this one as inner shield. The outer shield gun will be coming with the suitcase, the Miller suitcase. And then, last but not least, aha, this critter was not cheap. The Victor Journeyman torch set, and it did have the tips. I'm not doing a breakdown or unboxing, I'm just putting it out there. It did have the tips for oxyacetylene, but I'm gonna be running oxypropylene. So I have the oxypropylene tips. I had those changed out at MPB, so thank you again to all the fine folks at MPB Welding Supplies and Equipment for changing it out for me. I really appreciate it, so I didn't have to keep these that I wouldn't use and then go buy extra things. I was able to switch them out, so I really do appreciate that. Thank you guys at MPB. So I will be doing a breakdown on this sometime very soon. But that's today's shopping haul from MPB. I was very happy to get all this. It was not cheap. Starting a welding rig is not cheap by any means, but I love getting all this stuff. I love getting it all ready for the welding rig, which will be getting here hopefully very soon. So hope y'all enjoy it, and I'll see y'all in the next video.